Lucia Powell with the Gateway Pundit, and we're here with Jim Santilli. And you, Jim, are just still recovering from the coronavirus.
Yes, that's correct. Thanks for having me on here. So basically, on March 18th, it was a Wednesday, I suddenly developed severe cardiac and respiratory issues. Cardiac issues, my heart rate was up in the 160s. I had extremely high blood pressure suddenly, and then also difficulty breathing, coughing, and some wheezing taking place. So I went to Henry Ford Macomb Hospital in Clinton Township. They provided excellent care. I want to first and foremost thank the physicians, nurses, and all the other healthcare providers there. But immediately upon arrival, they suspected COVID-19. They did do a test. However, the issue was the test results did not come back until that Sunday, which I believe was March 22nd, late that evening. So kind of what had happened was I was immediately admitted. Throughout the days, my condition continued to worsen. The trouble breathing got worse. My vitals were kind of up and down the whole time. And by Saturday morning, which I believe was March 21st, I was at a point that I truly did not believe that I would live to see midnight that night. The gasping for air was just so bad. I felt like I was drowning. And at that point, they did another chest x-ray that day. That actually showed that the condition inside my lungs was worsening. I even had some partial collapsing going on. And the physician came to see me and told me basically that, they exhausted all options at that point. So he contacted an infectious disease physician. That physician came to see me, and that's when he immediately recommended using the hydroxychloroquine and the azithromycin. He mentioned that the president, had discussed that recently during a press conference. He said they saw positive results in both China and South Korea, and he felt that it was something they should try.
What were they giving you prior to, like, when you were admitted? What did they try to treat you with at
Well, they
that
were giving me some albuterol, which is an inhaler. Unfortunately, with COVID-19, they really have their hands tied. So they could not actually give me albuterol through a breathing treatment because I guess the tiny droplets could spread in the air at that point if you have COVID-19. So you're restricted to just regular inhaler. I was also getting some steroids. However, that's the other issue is I couldn't use a higher dose because I guess it's kind of thought that steroids can actually have an adverse effect on COVID-19, as far as the condition as well as lowering the immune system. So again, their hands were pretty tied and, they gave me some antibiotics as well. But immediately upon receiving the hydroxychloroquine as well as the azithromycin on that Saturday evening, probably within about a period of 2 hours, I had a drastic improvement, a total 180 degrees. The gasping for air stopped. My vitals were improving. And I got to be honest, I was in tears because I actually had hope. And I felt that, I could finally beat, whatever I was battling and that it was
right?
not.
This is like 4 days of being super sick, can't breathe, feel like you were dying, right?
Exactly. And that was the scariest part is that they were trying treatment here. You're in the hospital and I was not getting better, and that's the first time in my life I have ever experienced something so horrible.
Felt like you had a near-death experience
Oh yeah. I
to
mean,
that
that
level, that
Saturday morning,
extreme.
my breathing was terrible. It just kept getting worse. And I remember laying there and I was just kind of staring at the clock in the room, thinking to myself, that I'm probably not going to make it until midnight if I stay on the trajectory I was on. And again, just sitting there feeling like you're drowning, it's a horrible, horrible feeling. I want the American people and even people around the world to know there is hope. Again, I was in a very bad situation. That drug combination, I know people are, engaging in partisan politics, unfortunately, which is terrible, especially considering the situation going on, but it worked.
So
The
you got the
president did
drug,
recommend it. It worked.
you got the drug, the hydrochloroquine on Sunday,
It was actually Saturday evening.
Saturday night, and then Sunday morning you feel better. Like you can breathe
Well,
again.
Even Saturday evening, I felt drastically better. Sunday, I kind of leveled off a little, and then by Monday, I was having a huge improvement. And to be honest, I mean, the improvement was so great that I went from Saturday in a horrible state to going home Tuesday evening.
So now what we see is the Democrat Michigan governor, Gretchen Whitmer. She wants to ban this drug.
Yeah,
And she's going to
so
penalize
that was
doctors. She's going to press charges against doctors who are going to administer this drug to patients which can save their lives.
exactly. And that's really what upset me and made me decide to go public with this. A memo went out from the state of Michigan, the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, also known as LARA. And, it was talking about hoarding, which obviously we don't want people hoarding these drugs. That's fine. But it also kind of basically in an indirect way said, don't use these medications. At least this is how I interpreted it. And I know some physicians did as well. Don't use these medications for other than what their approved purpose is. And that's wrong. And like I said, that really upset me because I know that it saved my life. I know that combination has great potential to, I believe, save other people's lives. And we should not be taking that resource and that life-saving combination away from the people of this great state, or anywhere in this world. I mean, people should have that treatment option available because it can save lives.
What do you think the motive is for Governor Whitmer to ban this medication and make it illegal for doctors or pharmacists to give people who are in dire need this medication?
Well, to be honest, I can't see a motive that's actually that psychologically makes sense. I just can't see one, and just looking at, how she's handled this whole situation, it's very disappointing. I'm actually ashamed that she's our governor. Again, this isn't about partisan politics. If it was a Republican governor, I'd be saying the same thing if they were handling it, in the same manner she is. But you look at, I mean, how she's handled this medication situation, terrible. She sits there going on national television, attacking the president, saying the feds aren't giving them aid.
We need clear directive and guidance from the federal government. And frankly, a patchwork strategy of each state doing what they can is, we're going to do it if we have to, but it would be nice to have a national strategy. But can't afford to have a fight with the White House. But the fact of the matter is, at some point, we are going to have to analyze where all the failures were, and we're going to have to make decisions that based on what happened and what didn't happen. Lives will be lost because we weren't prepared.
Well, she never submitted the FEMA application until this week. So while she was sitting there for weeks, going on national TV, playing partisan politics, she failed to lead. She did not get the application done, and she's not following through on what she's supposed to be doing as governor. Regardless if you're Democrat, Republican, male, female, whatever your ethnicity is, COVID-19 does not discriminate. We need real leadership to deal with this situation. We all need to be united, and she's not doing that. And personally, I think she's, and I'm going to be blunt, she's a disgrace as the governor of the state of Michigan.
How do you think the president's handling all this? What do you and what do you think about those who say Democrats are using this virus, or the Chinese collaborated with Democrats to even unleash this virus ahead of the election and to crash the economy?
Well, I will say, based on what I've seen, and again, regardless of anybody's opinion of President Trump, I think, and I've been watching the press conferences, obviously now more so than even ever before, because, this is something that hit home with me. But I think he's done a great job, with putting together that coronavirus task force. I think he has very intelligent and hardworking individuals on that task force. I think they're all doing a great job. They're dealing with the situation. And I think they have a plan. They're working on executing it, and again, you look at the state of Michigan with Governor Whitmer. Is she doing that? No. Instead, she's sitting there playing partisan politics. And again, this is no time for partisan politics. We need to stand united and do what's best by the American people.
Partisan politics when people's lives are at stake.
Exactly.
And then we just saw the Democrats try to load the stimulus package with lots of pork spending and funding for Planned Parenthood and abortions and ballot harvesting.
Exactly. And that's really unacceptable too. Again, this is about the COVID-19 situation. That's what we should be focusing on. People are losing their lives. They're suffering. People are losing their jobs. In fact, I just talked to a friend of mine yesterday. She lost her job last week, and her husband's losing his job today. And this is no time to be inserting, different components that have nothing to do with the COVID-19 situation.
Why, if this is proven to be effective internationally in different states around the country, it's just truly appalling how it doesn't make any sense why she'd ban it. Or they say the side effects. Are the side effects so dangerous?
Well, and one thing I do want to mention about side effects, because I've seen that a lot, even when I did my social media post. And, I got to be honest, even some of these comments I've read, they're disgusting. People, saying I should have died, people telling me to go suck genitalia. I mean, people making it into a partisan situation. I know some people will talk about science. Well, I agree. I mean, things need to be looked at, but, as far as if it's safe or not, but we know this drug is safe. It's been out for a number of years, the hydroxychloroquine. We know azithromycin is safe. It's been out
It's
for a
used to
number of
treat
years.
malaria.
On Saturday, I was sitting there thinking, am I going to live to see midnight? If you're at a point like that, do you really think I cared if there's going to be some side effects? I mean, it crossed my mind, but at that point, what I thought to myself is, what other option is there? What do I have to lose? Because if I didn't try the treatment and I didn't have any positive results, where would I be today? Would I be on a ventilator right now? Would I even be here to talk to you? I don't know. Based on how I felt that day, I don't think I probably would have been here, right? And you look at, I know people reference a study out of China, Wuhan, China, but they were giving such a large amount of that hydroxychloroquine, and that's probably why people were losing their lives from it. I mean, it was a dangerously high amount compared to what I received and what other people are probably receiving here in the United States of America. The other thing is, I know people are referencing that individual who sadly, I believe it was something related to a fishbowl chemical, who took that. Again, that was not prescribed by a doctor. That was obviously something that individual shouldn't have done. So we can't be using that as an example and saying, hey, we shouldn't be doing this treatment.
How are you doing today? Do you still have hydrochloroquine now to help you recover? Are
To
you
be
still feeling
honest,
symptoms of the
I took the
coronavirus?
last dose. I took the last dose on Wednesday. So what I was told by the physicians is they're kind of doing, different, I guess you could say, doses and lengths of the treatment. And from my end, it's my understanding that mine was actually a higher dose, but for a shorter span of days. So I started it Saturday evening, and I finished the last dose on Wednesday morning. But I've been doing great. I do, obviously, with everything that went on with my lungs, I have some irritation in there still, so I do have an occasional cough. But every day I'm getting better. I am recovering, and as I said, it worked.
To all the public officials, all the Democrat governors around the country trying to ban this medication that saved your life, what is your message to them?
Well, I think they're making a terrible mistake. I think a lot of them are probably, if they're doing that, they're doing it because President Trump suggested it. And they don't want to make the president look good, and that's not how it should be. If something works, if they truly care about the American people and truly care about doing what's right, you would not go against this. If something is working, you would support it, and you would want your people to have access to this so their lives can be saved and suffering can be ended. So my message would be, shame on you if that's truly what you're doing. What concerns me is, you look at the left side, for example. I mean, why is there so much anger there and just desire to not do what's right? That's what I find
What do
very,
you think?
I don't know. I can't figure it out. Like I said, right now, especially with the state our nation and even our world's in, I mean, we all need to be united, not fighting, like our governor is wanting to do. So,
Well, I think they want the chaos. They
oh,
want
yeah, I agree.
socialism. They love it. This is socialism. This is what they
Exactly.
want.
Yeah,
So
it's
they're
very sad.
enjoying everyone being restricted. They want you to stay home and not in the empty shelves in the stores. This is their socialist utopia, dystopia.
Yep. Well, and I think they want too. I think they want people to be unemployed to get those unemployment numbers up and to be able to use that against, the president for reelection.
Yeah, impeachment didn't work, and the Russia
Yeah,
probe didn't work, and now
exactly. Well, it's
lo and
clear as
behold, there's
day
a
from the day he
pandemic that they're
stepped foot
hoping
into the
will
White
work.
House, they've been out to get him. So
Exactly.